Hello and welcome once again to Hour 1. As always, I'm Charlie, and this time we'll be doing a long-awaited second opinion of Warframe. Now, for those of you who are new to the channel, I did a Warframe video on the PS4 as one of the very first videos ever done on the channel, and it got a bunch of reactions, most of them negative. Now, initially Hour 1s, and still are to this day, are a blind dive, or as blind as I can be with some exceptions like Destiny out there, into a game. And I try and go in knowing nothing about the game when I play it. And in Warframe's case, that pissed a lot of people off. And apparently the patch I was playing with, as made point by many people, was kind of defective. And I'll talk more about this after I play this, but I felt this game deserved a bit more of a second chance than I really gave it. Initially, I tried to just go do a second Hour 1 of it and call it a second opinion, but at least on the PS4, there's no way to start a new profile. At least back when I was trying, this was like maybe a couple months ago, maybe they've added it since then, but I really haven't touched the game some, and I get the impression a whole slew of patches have come out since then. Now, in this case, you may notice the buttons are different. New console, new profile, same game allegedly. So with that being said, let's get to it.
For generations you've slept. No purpose, no call to wake you. But now, something has risen from the ruins of the old war. The Grenier. Swallowing colonies whole, their clones flood the system from a hidden, toxic womb. The Twin Queens, the Sisters, have sent their most beloved commander, Vor, on an urgent mission. To protect the twisted crusade they have begun. To transform the scattered colonies into an empire. To see that the Tenno, hidden and asleep, will never awake.
I got caught.
Starting the timer now. Okay, these are totally different options.
Wake up, Tenno.
So I'm a thing called a Tenno. That's good to know, I guess. Yeah, this opening is totally different.
Lotus has tried to wake you. Pity she's too late. You're my prize now.
How does putting one little plug on me stop me from
No,
doing things?
we are taking this one with us.
What has he done to you? I can't lose another Tenno. I am surging your Warframe's power systems.
This is just as hard as I remember it being. Let's run. Let's jump. That's like dive. All right, that's cover. Did I just mission say how I could use other moves? I'm pressing buttons and I can't do anything, so okay. I used the sword last time, we'll try it out with the pole. This does not feel as good as it used to. Does the murderer come?
There's a cache of weapons ahead. Grab what you can.
So, throwing stars,
The extraction point is up ahead.
gun.
Hurry before Vor finds out you've escaped.
Let's go throwing stars. Why not? This is actually kind of cool. Still. I found this one harder to control. Huh. This feels floatier, sloppier, I'm not sure. Okay, what the hell is doing that? Okay, that's reload. That's pretty cool. I got a bow or a gun.
I'm not sure what Vor has done to your Warframe, but we cannot remove it now. Just keep going. The energy sign is up ahead.
Screw it, we'll go with the bow. That's kind of nifty.
Disengage the suppression system so we can restart the ship. You'll have to bypass the security on that panel.
I got a shot from that. Charge cancel's nice.
Enemy reinforcements are here. Ship Cephalon, we require immediate extraction.
The operator is in danger? I will need a few moments to cycle the engines.
Tenno, are you afraid? You cannot hide from these old eyes. I've marked you. You will return to me.
Nothing creepy about that. Oh, that feels good.
Tenno, the ship is ready. It's time to leave.
It's a funny glitch. So I got a kind of weird looking ship. Alright. Ooh, I can move my ship. Whee! That was cool. That's a long ass slide I managed to pull off there though too. And the slowest zip line ever. Oh, bow is a cool weapon. There was a super cool climbing engine last time I played this. Where'd it go? Okay. Ah. 5? Okay. Cool. Very rage of them. Oh, it pins him to walls. That's badass. That's really cool. There's the ship.
The communication segment will connect the ship with our Tenno operatives. You are not alone in this fight, Tenno.
Cool. Don't know what that means, but okay. That's cool. Silly, but cool. That's a little silly. Let's get myself stuck.
Alarms reset. They do not suspect a thing.
Oof. Alright, so that's obviously an hour. You heard the alarm go off. And first off, this is a very different game than the one I played when this game first came out. It is a much completer game. And there's definitely a story and a world that's interesting, but some of my gripes in the original game that I played on the PS4 still hold true. Before I get to that, I did a little more research between the original hour 1 of this and this is the second opinion, and this is a PC game. Initially a PC game, maybe a PC game first, I don't know. And that explains a lot of the criticism I got in the original hour 1. I played that on the PS4, I'm not sure if I mentioned that back then or not, and the idea of looking things up for a game on a PS4, like going to the wiki or something like that for a console game, is a bad thing in my book. I'm not to rag on the Dark Souls franchise, which I love. It's a really cool idea for a franchise. I had a lot of fun playing it, but nothing drove me more up the wall with that franchise than the amount of time I've spent on a wiki of some kind. Some of a walkthrough saying, hey, here's where you should go next or something like that. And maybe that makes me an entitled gamer, maybe that doesn't. I like my games to explain at least the basics. And this game still does not do that. It's getting closer. The tutorial this time around is not as good as it was in the original one I played on the PS4. It's a little more frantic. They take longer to give you your weapons. They kind of give them to you in a weird order. I think, at least on the Xbox One, the controller layout for it is abysmal. Whoever picked the original default controller configuration doesn't understand how console gamers play, and going back to, this was a PC game. It is a PC game, which makes a lot more of these issues I have with this game make more sense. They're ones I associate with large, free-to-play PC games, where there's a very driven community behind that, and with this hour, with the original hour, when I posted, I met that community. You guys were both love or hate the video, sometimes helpful, sometimes jackasses. I expect both kind of thing, and your input and your fervor for this game is what drove this hour 1. I'm sure it's going to write this game off and never come back to it, but all the pushing to wait for a better update and stuff like that is what brought me back here. So with all that being said, there's still a bunch of this game I don't get. Like, the fact I could pick a bow up for my first one was really cool, because in the initial game, they had all these fancy battle axes and non-traditional rifles you could pick up, but they were one of the currencies I didn't have in either one of, and I was trying to make more of the currency, and forget about it kind of thing. Like, it was just too much for me to pick up to get interested. And that's still kind of the case. I'm not really sure if I've made any money yet in the game. I've died a couple times. I don't know how that works in this game. There's a revive and stuff like that. I'll say it again. This game just kind of confuses me, because it does such a good job of having really solid and fun to play mechanics, but it doesn't explain some of the fundamentals, like how you make gear. Maybe I just haven't gotten to those yet. They just went into the topic of how to use blueprints, which was something that was told to me, and I looked up on the Wikipedia articles and the other various community resources for this, but that I had not gotten to in the original playthrough I did, or playing of Warframe I did, and subsequent hours. I gave that game a lot of time to try and get better, and it just never quite hooked me, if that made any sense. This time around, this game's a lot of fun, and maybe it's the Xbox One controller, maybe it's some sacrifices they made for other things to go on. The game looks really cool. It's not complete next-gen graphics, looks really cool, but it's got a really nice art style. Again, the Temos, whatever you are, the Temos, whatever, Tenos, I think what you're called, look really cool. They look fantastically alien, and they really embody this idea of cyber ninja, which is cool, and they play, at least when I'm playing, plays like a cyber ninja, which is a lot of fun. The whole mobility of it is great. The controls seem to have gotten worse. I remember the biggest thing that Warframe had going for it on the PS4 was how just tight the controls felt. And that was really cool. Like, this game handled amazingly. And yeah, after playing around with the controls some, I think I've gotten it closer to it, but still some things feel off. Like, there's this kind of pseudo-parkour engine. It's still there, but now my Tenno's like vaulting through guardrails as opposed to going over them. Not a game-breaking issue, but I did remember it doing that on the PS4. Maybe that's the Xbox One comparison. I don't know. Maybe it's just how the game works. But I remember at least the movement of this game feeling flawless and silky smooth. And this time around, it's felt a little awkward occasionally. I got stuck between a guardrail and a wall. Just because I slid into it, kind of thing. I had to roll out of it, which, no games without glitches and stuff like that. But I remember that being an issue the last time I played this game. The combat's still a lot of fun. The mix of melee and range is quite nice. I remember there being a really cool slide into aim move that was really easy to do in the original one. Not so much anymore, which I kind of miss, but whatever. I feel like the camera's been zoomed in a little bit more on the Tenno as well, which is a nice change. It's got a nice kind of RE4 over the kind of shoulder feel to it, but not so zoomed in. I had to tweak some settings, but having it lock onto whatever you're shooting at and whatever the action is seems to help the game a lot. Again, this is a game that has almost too much customization for its own good, which is why I associate it with PC ports in some regard, a PC port to a console game. It's got all these options, and no one spent a lot of time to streamline and figure out what was generally best. And I'm not saying take those options out, but maybe on the maybe on the next update, make the defaults a little bit better, or maybe try and play it on the console a little bit more. I don't know. It's still a lot of fun, and unlike the last time I played this, they've made so many changes. I'm gonna keep playing this one. Maybe not. Maybe I'm gonna be playing this every week, but it's got some cool stuff going on. I'm gonna go back and check out the PS4 and to see if it functions the way this one does, because this is a pretty cool game. There's some story going on. There's some oppression stuff going on. There's a framework for what you're doing as opposed to Space Quarter. There's NPCs you're escorting, escort quests, whatever, but there's a frame that makes the actions make more sense, and this is a weird harping thing to go on. The map works this time around. When I played it on the PS4, the map was super confusing, and honest to God, moved from one corner of the screen to another while I was playing it. To defend my original Hour 1 sum, a lot of the things I was called out for, like editing out when the character said go to the extraction point, I went back and watched the original video, and it's not there. It is literally not there. And maybe it's because in the PS4's case, some of the commands come out of the controller, but I could not find any example or any evidence that it said go to extraction. And also, if you watch that video, you'll watch that literally the map jumps from the top left to the bottom right and grows huge. And they've made some changes to the map. There's now a little kind of waypoint indicator that pops up when you're supposed to be doing things. The objective is much more notated in the map itself. The map feels more useful, if that makes any sense. Like, I can nitpick the map some because I spent so much time being mad at it in the original time I played Warframe, but it's good this time. I never felt lost in this game, and it still seems to have this large, sprawling feeling that game have, which is good. This game has a nice sense of size, and I just wish they'd managed to keep that really tight system they'd had in the original one. Maybe I'll get used to it. Maybe it's me just not liking the Xbox One control as much as the PS4 controller or something like that, or I need to tweak the settings some more. But the sacrifices of slightly less tight controls have been paid off with just a really more fleshed out game. And it saddens me to say the free-to-play bullshit I smelled when I first played Warframe is still there. I get it, free game. I really shouldn't be that mad about this kind of thing, but the fact that it's basically saying, hey, you could totally spend real money to unlock some really cool stuff like colors for your armor, I don't know. Even in some of the comments I read online on the video and stuff like that, like on the Reddit where I posted it and stuff like that, was you have to buy like backpacks and stuff like that to make the game more fun or something like that. I got nothing against free-to-play games. I used to play League of Legends and some other games out there. Hell, when Mass Effect 3 was doing its whole multiplayer thing, I threw a couple bucks at it to try and get some of the better guns in the game because it made it more fun. I don't get the impression you can play this game successfully without spending a little money, and all the comments we got in the original video seem to suggest that there are some items you just have to spend money to get, and that rubs me the wrong way. And I'm not saying give me all the color palettes for free, but maybe give me the basics like, I don't know, generic colors and black and white for free. I have a whole spectrum of like lightish white to like a darker purple or something, but no black. And that's kind of dickish in my book. It's free-to-play bullshit at that point, which I have a problem with. Do I feel it's as much of an issue this time around as I did the first time around? No, actually. I feel you could quite successfully play this game and not spending money. Maybe run into some issues with it, but it's going to be more of a grind, if that makes any sense. And nothing wrong with that. I've been playing lots of Destiny. That's plenty of grind, and there's no free-to-play option in that one. So, yeah, definitely I'd spend some money to speed that one up occasionally. So, and to make the obvious comparison to this versus Destiny, it's not a good comparison anymore. I initially played Warframe to try and fill the waiting for Destiny void, and this game has some things I wish Destiny had. The mobility system is really cool. The weapon variety, also really cool. Hell, even like the design for the characters is pretty sweet. Maybe when I spend some more time with this game, I'll explore some of the Warframes more. And they're cool looking. They're all really cool looking. Everything in this game has a really unique, interesting sense of design. And I guess I just wish that more of the experience lived up to that design aesthetic. Like I said, there's still something I'm confused about. They've explained a lot more. I just picked up mustaches from a message of some kind, which is kind of strange, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it's a Movember thing or something. Who knows? I'll just repeat it again. There's a lot of annoying things in this game that just haven't been explained, and the fact that I can't try out the guns before I buy them. There's no shooting range. There's no test range. I just have to look at it and say, okay, based on the stats in the right-hand corner, here's how I think this kind of works. Irks me some. If I'm going to spend real money or in-game money, I'd like to be able to try it out. Because none of this stuff is cheap in this game, and I'm willing to bet the average gun in this game costs $2 or $3. But with all that griping said, I'm going to keep playing this one. Let's see where this one goes.
Tenno, we may have a problem. The colony is unresponsive. Get to the surface so we can see what's going on.